Unsolicited advice.
What you whispering for? Yo, what's unsolicited advice? Take it or leave it. What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about our society's obsession with materialistic things. Nowadays, we're caught up in status and image, and more of what we have instead of more of what we need. You see a lot more people, of course, the obvious is bragging about their money, bragging about, their status, telling you what they expect out of you and not giving anything in return. We all crave to have things that we don't necessarily need. We want things that a lot of times we either can't have or will never achieve. Sometimes we don't live within our means. We live beyond our means, just to try to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. But right now we're just going to talk about things that are materialistic, and how we become materialistic and obsessed with things that we want. A lot of times being materialistic has to do with personality traits. Sometimes you just are who you are. I don't think some people mean to be that way. It's just how they are. It makes them happy. That's the number one thing. For some people, it just makes them happy to have certain things, especially nice things. And some people, they just can't, they can be very stubborn. They're not going to do anything unless they have, they're not going to move unless they have the best. They're not going to bow down or whatever you want to call it unless they are given the absolute best. So a lot of times it just has to do with personality traits, who a person is. Sometimes, like I said, they can't help it. It's just who they are. It's already in their DNA. It ain't something that they kind of accumulated over time. They were kind of born that way. Another thing I would say is trauma or stress. A lot of trauma in your life can cause you to be materialistic because you think it's going to make you feel better. And same thing with stress. If you're stressed out, a lot of times when people are stressed out, they either binge eat or they binge shop. You just overindulge in things that make you happy, or things that you think that are going to make you happy. And you consume. You could just consume anything to make you feel better. I'd say another reason is power. People can be very materialistic and, want status in a certain lifestyle, a certain image, because they crave power. They want to know that they are number one, that they're the top dog, that they're the boss. It's just things that we crave, things that we think we need, that'll make us feel like we're powerful, or above others. Some people just crave it. They want to have some type of, thumb on things. As they say, you keep your thumb on somebody or your foot on somebody's neck. It's a power struggle, especially when you want materialistic things. You want to be better than the next person. I would say, and this one's probably more for me, sometimes people are looking for a purpose, when you're wanting things or you're wanting an image or a status, it's like you're searching for your purpose in life. And sometimes we think the more that we have, the more it will give us some type of purpose or need. We kind of push the simple things aside to go for the bigger prizes, because we think that that's our purpose in life. So that definitely is a big red flag when we look at material things as fulfilling a purpose. Another one I would say and it's a pretty simple one. Sometimes it's just about being seen and being noticed and recognized. You know, it's that old trope where, you know, you want to come into the club late with your, you know, your best outfit on so everybody sees you, you know, or, you know, you want to get an award so everybody recognizes and sees your greatness. You know, you just want to be seen, especially with materialistic stuff. You want people to know what you got, what you have. Hey, look at me. Look what I got going on. You know, it can be very intoxicating when people are looking and they're congratulating you or giving you oohs and ahs. Another one, and I've been saying this throughout this, you know, this whole conversation is image. You know, for some people, image is everything, and they are concerned. Like me, I love how I look when I put on something. I love to dress. You know, like right now, you know, I got on something that that I wanted to wear and I like. So, you know, it's about how you look, how you feel, you know, how people view you. You know, we can get very materialistic about our image and how people view us. You know, your reputation, it's everything to some people. Comparing, you know, sometimes people just are obsessed with materialistic things because they want to compare. You know, you see this with you definitely see this with females when it comes to parties and, you know, the clothes, the jewelry, you know, the trips that they take. You see it on social media a lot. Guys, they love to compare when it comes to, you know, their status, their money, their cars, you know, frivolous things. You know, a lot of times materialistic things come down to just comparing. We want to compare. There's an abbreviation for this next one. They call it FOMO, FOMO, which is fear of missing out. You know, it's an old saying when you was a child, you know, your mom would tell you all the time when you try to stay up, you know, they say, go to sleep. You act like you're going to miss something. Go to bed. You ain't going to miss nothing, you know. Or they would sit there and talk to, you know, their friends or family members like, yeah, you know, little Dana ain't going to go to sleep right now because he act like he going to miss something. You know, if we don't get the latest shoe, you know, we don't get the latest electronic device when it comes out on, you know, on launch day. If we miss the Amazon Prime Day, you know, or Walmart deals, or just, you know, the newest and latest thing, sometimes our anxiety, it goes right back to the trauma and stress. Our anxiety kicks in because we have to act like we got to get the latest thing right now, you know. One perfect example is, you know, the Air Jordan craze, you know, the sneaker releases. You know, that's a big thing for everybody. Most people can't wait. You know, you can't wait to get the latest shoe when it's the same shoe that's been coming out for decades, you know, or the same, you know, of course with the Jordan, the same shoe that's been coming out since the 80s. Like you can't go online right now and buy that same shoe, you know, but you're obsessed with the launch date. You know, it's just one of those things, you know, we get that. Another reason why we want materialistic things. And there's a caveat to this one, because sometimes we forget that we treat human beings as materialistic things, you know, as they call some people arm candy, you know, trophy wife or trophy husband or whatever you want to call it, trophy girlfriend, trophy boyfriend. But another thing that causes us to indulge in materialistic things is some people are just possessive. They have a need. They want to collect things, you know. And most people that are in the collecting business, that's their thing. It's not necessarily, in their mind, they don't feel like they're being materialistic. That's just their passion. It's like a hobby to them. They love to collect. But it is an obsession. It is being possessive because you want to collect something that somebody doesn't have or can't have. So yeah, I would say possessiveness is another thing. And along with image, we're going to go back to what I was saying earlier, status. You know, you want to know, you want everybody to know that you that dude or you that chick, that you that number one person, in your city or wherever you at. When you come around, everybody knows, you got it on. You putting it on, you got it all. You looking good. You got everything going. So those are just some things that causes us to be materialistic. It can be very satisfying to some, or at least they think it is, and we'll get into that later. But I came up with a list, and these are I call them the 7 deadly obsessions when it comes to wanting materialistic things. There was a movie back in I think the 70s called Car Wash. Richard Pryor was in it. He played a character called Daddy Rich, and he was like a street prophet, or a street preacher. He rolled up in the limousine. He had like 3 women in the car, and everybody was just happy to see him. Except for I think Brother Abdul. I forget his name. Bill Duke played like Brother Abdul or something like that. He wasn't going for it. He's seen it. But Richard Pryor had a classic line in that movie, and he talked about how it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it at all. And I think that's a lot of times that's what cripples people. We feel like we have to have it, and it's not because we need it, but it's because like I said, you'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it at all. So we crave stuff so much. By the time we get it, we barely touch it or use it. We're just happy that we have it. It's kind of like, like when you buy groceries, you'd be so happy that you have like $300-400 to spend on groceries. You buy all those groceries, and what's the first thing you do? You DoorDash, or you go buy fast food. You let that stuff just sit and sit and sit. Even though you had been starving, you couldn't wait to cook some food, but now that you got it, you just snacking, you eating all the junk food. You ain't really touching the frozen chicken and all the stuff that you can cook food with. Same thing when you buy things. You get so excited that you finally get to purchase something. Like, let's say the latest iPhone, or the latest sneakers or whatever. By the time that you get it, sometimes you realize you didn't want it as bad as you thought. It's just the intoxication of, I got it. But sometimes when you get something, you don't even know what to do with it. Kind of like a relationship, kind of like meeting somebody. But I'm going to give you the 7 deadly sins. We'll start at number 7. So number 7 is, I would say, online shopping, or digital purchases, like apps and online shopping. People been online shopping for a while, but it really hit big during the pandemic, because people couldn't go nowhere. So it's a big obsession now, We got Black Friday coming up. Most people don't even go, to the stores on Black Friday. Everything is pretty much bought online now, And as far as apps are concerned, we get obsessed with buying apps. We want to buy apps, because they provide something for us, But now it's become a monopoly when it comes to, like if I buy HBO Max, now they're telling me, oh, if you bundle with Hulu and Disney, you can get all this in, one package, after I done spent money on all 3 separate, when I could have just bundled them. And it's just like a monopoly. They sucker you in, or you purchase an app thinking it's free. Once you download it, now all of a sudden you got to pay a certain price just to get the pro version or the premium version. So it's a deadly obsession, because part of you know that you need it, but then another part knows that you probably could go without it. This one probably going to touch a lot of nerves, but at number 6, on the 7 deadly sins, spending money on kids, or more importantly, spending unnecessary money on kids. This is a thing that it irks me. You see it a lot now. We spend so much money early on kids, when they couldn't even appreciate the things that you're buying them, whether it's, some cute little shoes you got, or cute clothes you got them dressing like your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, or your imaginary crush or whatever. You got them all dressed up, and Louis Vuitton stuff and Gucci and the latest Jordans or whatever. It's always so cute. It's so cute. Now you done bought them a tablet. At 5 years old, they running around with a $500, $800 tablet. Now you done bought them a cell phone because they've been begging for one at 9 years old. Now they got the latest iPhone. You give them so much so soon because you think that it's something that they have to have, but also they're not appreciating these things. They're not learning to appreciate none of this stuff. All you're doing is setting the bar extremely high because the next thing you buy them has to be just as good. Because, like I said, they haven't learned yet the value of $1. So they think you got it. Once you ask for it, they know you're going to go break your back at your job, working hours and hours and hours just to give them whatever it is that they want. But they don't appreciate it. Half the time they don't even play with stuff like we used to, or entertain themselves with the things that you give them like we used to. We used to just entertain ourselves for hours with the things we have now. You'd be lucky if they get through Christmas night with one of the things that you bought them without them throwing it in a corner somewhere or forgetting they even got it. So I would say, spending unnecessary money on kids when they want things, not necessarily needing, but wanting things. This is another one that just drives me crazy, but part of me understands because, you're celebrating, but parties and events. Back in 05, somewhere like 05, 2010 era, we started getting obsessed with renting out clubs, or VIP sections or booths. It's just showing our status, throwing parties. Oh, let's all get together, come up with $500 so we can get a booth, not to go party and have a good time, but just to take pictures and show everybody online how we're living, what we got on, it's a status thing. And that trickled down to, birthday parties, more particularly our own birthday parties. We go out the way. We will break our backs at our jobs to go out of our way for one night of partying. Just expensive stuff. And going back to the kid thing, we definitely will spend unnecessary money on kids' birthday parties. If not our own. And it gets to a point where we're trying to outdo each other. And that's the point I'm trying to get to. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But it's the trying to one up each other. Oh, I'm going to, they threw their party like this. Oh, I'm going to go get this then. I'm going to do it like this. Ours is going to be way bigger. You need to come to our party. I'm not saying this hasn't been going on, but now with the way the world is now, it's all about having all eyes on you, having everybody posting it online, posting it on social media. So definitely parties is number 5. On the deadly obsessions, 7 deadly obsessions. Number 5 is those damn parties and events that y'all just spend way too much money on instead of enjoying the moment. Number 4 on the 7 deadly obsessions is fine dining. Look, I will take a home cooked meal any day. I'll take Popeyes any day. I don't have to go to a high price restaurant. So I'm only speaking to the ladies on this one. And like I said, some of this stuff is going to touch people's nerves, but I'm just being honest. It is what it is. It's what's going on. A lot of ladies are obsessed with fine dining. Like they're just going to get some great experience that they can't get somewhere else. And to an extent you could on an anniversary, a birthday, something that really means something, an intimate night out that was planned. Yes. But what I mean by this is constant, like constantly wanting to go get, a seafood boil, that's going to run you about $100 something on a good one, end up. on a real good one. Now, I know people going to come in here and say, oh, well, no, you can go over here for 20. You know what I mean. What I mean by fine dining is you won't accept nothing but labeled restaurants, certain labeled restaurants that show status, where you can take the pictures and you can post them and you can show people where you at. And just so they know how much money was spent on the meal versus it actually really being fucking good. You could take me to a barbecue spot. I like Jim and Nick's. I have a good ass time. $50, whatever, however much you would spend. Good ass time. But fine dining has gotten out of control. You think that you're supposed to be wined and dined every day. And I'm sure some people are going to say, no, okay, every weekend, once a week, monthly. Either way, we're spending entirely too much money, you know. And DoorDash too. We probably got to get away from doing that too as well. That's getting a little crazy as well. Number 3. This might go to the ladies as well. But there's nothing wrong with traveling. But we spend way too much money going on the same trips. Way too much money. You know, we get obsessed with it. You know, going on, you know, cruises all the time. Oh, I'm just gonna get on a boat and go to the same island just to take the same pictures, just to lay on the same chair, beach chair, to drink the same fucking drinks you can get at a fucking Mexican restaurant or wherever. I respect people that actually want to go and see the world. Like if you go overseas and you have a passport, great. That makes more sense. I get that. If you want to explore the United States, the different states and how people live and what they have, the type of culture that they have, great. But bragging about going to Florida, bragging about going on, you know, cruises and, oh, this week I'm getting flown out here and there and everywhere. That's great. But if you have to constantly do it, then it's not fulfilling anything. I take that back. It's not the fulfilling, it's the indulging. That's probably the main thing. It's the indulging. You know, you're overindulging. It's not really giving you a great memory. It's just reminding you that when you get home, you have none of that. And you want to go back to it. You just want to go back to something that you don't have. It's like being a side chick or a side dude. Number 2, jewelry. Jewelry's nice. You know, sparkly, diamonds. Who don't like that? Gold. You know, gold is still priceless. Problem is the amount of money you have to spend to prove something. Whether it be guys wearing a bunch of, you know, like iced out grills or, you know, iced out chains, gold, you know, or whether it's a woman, you know, turning down a $2,000 wedding ring because she wanted the $5,000 one. That type of obsession, you know, goes back to status and image. You know, for the guy, you're doing it just because you want to be seen. You know, it shows that you have some type of money. You know, if you look on those social media sites, they got that little thing that checks if your jewelry is real or not. You know, that's how far it's came now. You know, because a lot of people are wearing fugazi stuff. For the ladies, though, it's an image. It's more of an image. You know, they have to show people that, look at how much money my man spent on me. This is how much he loves me. Instead of him telling you that I want to marry you. You know, I always have the same, I always say the same thing to people. Like, do you want to be a wife or do you want to get married? Meaning, do you want the wedding or do you want to be a wife? You know, if you really love somebody, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, what type of ring or, you know, how many carats or whatnot. It's the fact that they looked you in your eyes and said, I want to marry you. I want you to be my wife. A lot of that's gotten away from it, you know. But like I said, jewelry. Jewelry can be an obsessive, a deadly obsession. You know, be robbed, steal, and kill for it. And the number one, of course, you know, needs really no introduction, but money. Money is the root of all evil. Yeah, still is. Money rules all this because without money, you can't acquire the material things. You can't develop, but you can develop a deadly obsession to it because you want it and you need it. But it's more of a want than need. You know, would you rather take just enough money that you need to take care of things, or would you take as much money as you want? That's like the ultimate question when it comes to life. You know, most people are going to say, I'm going to take as much money as I want because they want to make sure, you know, financial security and longevity and, you know, legacy, you know, so they can pass money down. So, yeah. But sometimes we don't look at, hey, why don't you just take what you need? You know, take a certain amount of money that you need to get your credit back to where it needs to be, to pay your bills off, pay all your bills off, you know, almost like a blank canvas so you can start, you know, building something, you know, instead of instant gratification. You know, you're looking at it as a marathon. You can't take that stuff with you to the grave. At most, you'll spend most of that money on your coffin and your tombstone. But yeah, and, you know, that's just one of my things. And I bet, you know, a lot of people probably going to look at this video and say, oh, well, you know, if you got it, then it's easy for you to talk to people and tell them, you know, you don't need it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go for what you want. If that's what you want, you should do that. If that makes you happy, that's good. All I'm saying is be careful of how obsessed you get with it, because you can get easily obsessed. But that's just my unsolicited advice. Take it or leave it.